The night air hung heavy with unspoken danger, a chill that had nothing to do with the autumn breeze whispering through the hotel's manicured gardens. From behind a shadow planter, a small girl with dirt-smudged cheeks and tangled cornrows watched the sleek black town car pull up, her heart pounding as fragments of overheard Chinese words echoed in her mind. Words of death disguised as an accident. With a burst of courage that belied her tiny frame, she lunged forward, grabbing the tall man's sleeve just as he reached for the door, her voice a desperate plea. "No! Don't get in that car. It's going to kill you." Welcome back, my beautiful family. Before we begin, please click subscribe, like this video, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps us bring more thrilling stories, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Now, let's get into the story. Simone Carter adjusted her clipboard, the cool silk of her green blouse brushing against her skin as she surveyed the hotel entrance. The charity gala had been a triumph. Over $2 million raised for children's causes. Every detail executed flawlessly under her watchful eye. Guests in glittering gowns and sharp tuxedos milled about, their laughter mingling with the soft jazz drifting from inside. But something felt off. A knot twisted in her stomach, an intuition honed from 3 years of coordinating high-profile events. She noticed a little girl earlier that evening, dark-skinned, maybe 7 years old, with cornrows that looked like they hadn't been touched in weeks, dirty jeans, a faded purple T-shirt that hung loosely on her thin frame. Hotel security had chased her away from the entrance twice already, but she kept returning, her wide eyes fixed on one man in particular. That man was Jonathan Blake, the billionaire tech mogul who'd bankrolled the entire event with a casual wave of his checkbook. Tall and broad-shouldered, with sharp gray eyes and a navy suit tailored perfection, he exuded the kind of quiet authority that made rooms fall silent. Simone had dealt with his assistant for weeks, approvals for floor arrangements, seating charts, the auction lineup, but Jonathan himself had barely acknowledged her. Distant, efficient, always typing on his phone or murmuring into an earpiece. Now, as the night wound down, his black town car glided to the curb, the driver stepping out with practiced precision to open the rear door. Jonathan moved toward it, still engrossed in his device, his security guard trailing a step behind. The air seemed to thicken, the ambient chatter fading into a distant hum. Simone's gaze flicked to the shadows near the planters, where the girl had hidden again. Why was she so persistent? Before Simone could signal security, the child exploded from her hiding spot like a spark from a fire. "No, don't get in. Don't get in that car." The girl's voice sliced through the evening, high and frantic, like shattering glass. She grabbed Jonathan's sleeve with both hands, yanking hard enough that his phone clattered to the sidewalk. He pulled back, startled, his composed facade cracking for the first time that night. "What the—" Jonathan's voice was sharp, his gray eyes widening as he stared down at the child, clinging to him. His security guard, a burly man named Tom Fletcher, rushed forward, hand outstretched. "Sir, I'll handle this." But the girl didn't let go. Her words tumbled out in a rush, breathless and urgent. "I heard them. The men by the kitchen door. They were speaking Chinese. I know Chinese. My friend Wu taught me some. They said the car, they said tonight, they said it would look like an accident." Simone's heart hammered in her chest. This was insane, a child's wild imagination, surely. But the fear in the girl's eyes was raw, too authentic to dismiss. Guests nearby paused, whispering and pointing. The driver stood by the open door, looking confused and a touch offended. Jonathan held up a hand, stopping his guard mid-reach. He crouched slightly, meeting the girl's gaze. "What exactly did you hear?" "They said the American would be gone before midnight. They said the device was ready. They said to make sure he got in the car." Her voice trembled, but she didn't waver. Please don't get in." Tom frowned, glancing at the vehicle. "Sir, we sweep your cars daily. This is obviously some kind of—" "Step away from the car." Jonathan's tone turned steel-hard, cutting through the doubt. "Everyone step back now." The driver protested, his face flushing. "Mr. Blake, I've been your driver for 3 years. This is ridiculous." "Then you won't mind if we have the bomb squad check it." Jonathan retrieved his fallen phone, already dialing emergency services. "Everyone back. clear the area. His assistant, a sharp-featured woman named Claire Patterson, whispered urgently beside him, "Sir, think about the publicity. If there's nothing, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize." Jonathan's eyes stayed locked on the car, his jaw set. "But I'm not getting in until someone checks it." The next 20 minutes stretched into an eternity. Hotel guests clustered at a safe distance, their phones out, capturing the unfolding drama. Simone found herself drawn closer, her clipboard forgotten as she knelt beside the girl, who was now shaking uncontrollably. "Hey, it's okay," Simone murmured, wrapping an arm around the child's thin shoulders. "You did a brave thing." The girl nodded, tears streaking her dirty cheeks. "I was scared. Nobody ever listens to me." Police arrived first, sirens blaring, followed by a bomb squad van. Officers in protective gear approached the town car with detectors and mirrors, their movements deliberate and tense. Jonathan stood rigid, watching, his hand resting gently on the girl's other shoulder, a surprising gesture of comfort from a man who'd seemed so aloof all evening. "If I'm wrong," he said quietly to her, "I'll owe you an apology." "You're not wrong," she whispered back. "I heard them. I promise." The lead officer paused near the car's undercarriage, his detector beeping insistently. He gestured sharply to his team, and their pace quickened. "Sir," he called to Jonathan, "we need everyone further back now." Simone's blood ran cold. She grabbed the girl's hand, and they retreated behind a concrete pillar with Jonathan and his team. Her legs felt like jelly, the reality sinking in. This wasn't a prank. This was real. "There's a device," the officer confirmed moments later, his voice grim through the radio. "Sophisticated. Someone knew what they were doing. We're calling in the disposal team." Jonathan's face paled, the weight of the near-miss etching lines into his features. He looked down at the girl, who clung to Simone's side. "What's your name?" "Amara." "Amara," he repeated, crouching to her level. "You just saved my life. Do you understand that?" She nodded, fresh tears spilling over. "I was scared. I didn't know if you'd listen." "Nobody ever listens to me," she added, her voice breaking. "I'm listening now." Jonathan's voice cracked slightly, a rare vulnerability slipping through. "Where are your parents? We need to thank them." Amara's face crumpled. "I don't have parents. I don't have anybody." The words hung in the air, heavy as the night itself. Simone's chest tightened. She'd suspected something like this in the girl's appearance, but hearing it confirmed twisted her heart. Living on the streets? At her age? "You've been out here alone?" Simone asked gently. "Near the market mostly," Amara mumbled, wiping her nose on her sleeve. "People give me food if I help carry things. That's how I learned Chinese and Spanish and some French. I came here tonight because the lights look pretty. I just wanted to see." A detective approached then, notebook in hand. "Sir, we need statements from everyone, especially the child. She's a key witness." "She's 7 years old and traumatized," Simone interjected firmly, surprising herself with protectiveness in her tone. "Can this wait until morning?" "This is attempted murder," the detective replied. "We need her account while it's fresh." "Then do it somewhere warm and safe," Jonathan said, his authority returning. "Not out here. My penthouse is 10 minutes away. You can take statements there." The detective frowned. "That's irregular. So is a child saving my life?" Jonathan's voice left no room for argument. "She's coming with me. So is..." He turned to Simone, really looking at her for the first time that night. Her warm brown skin, the curls framing her face, the steady calm in her dark eyes. "I'm sorry. I don't know your name." "Simone Carter. I coordinated your event tonight." "Simone." He nodded. "Thank you for staying with Amara. Will you come? I think she needs someone she feels safe with." Simone glanced at the girl, whose small hand still gripped hers tightly. At the bomb squad still working on the car, their lights casting eerie shadows. Every logical part of her brain screamed to go home, call her sister Tasha, process this madness in her cozy apartment across town. But Amara's eyes held such desperate hope, and Simone couldn't turn away. "Yes," she said. "I'll come." They rode to Jonathan's building in a police escort. Amara squeezed between them in the back seat of an unmarked car. The girl had stopped shaking, but she held Simone's hand like a lifeline. Jonathan spent the ride on his phone, speaking in low, urgent tones to his head of security, piecing together how this could have happened. "Run full checks on the driver," he murmured, "and pull hotel footage, kitchen entrance." The penthouse occupied the entire 40th floor, a sprawling expanse of glass and marble that overlooked the glittering skyline of Greenwich, Connecticut. Simone had glimpsed luxury before, but this was another world. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city like a painting, furniture that screamed modern art, everything pristine and gleaming under soft recessed lights. Amara's eyes widened as they stepped inside. "Is this heaven?" "No," Jonathan said with a faint smile, the first real one Simone had seen from him. It softened his features, making him seem almost approachable. "But you're safe here. That's what matters." He led them to a living room larger than Simone's entire apartment, with plush blue couches facing the panoramic view. The detective and 2 officers followed, setting up a recorder on the coffee table. "Before we start," Jonathan said, "this child needs food, clean clothes, and probably a doctor." "Sir, the statement can wait 15 minutes. But Jonathan was already on his phone again. "I'm having food sent up. Simone, there's a guest room down that hall. Second door. The bathroom has everything. Get Amara cleaned up. There should be robes at work until we get proper clothes." "You don't have to," Simone began. "Please." His gray eyes met hers, earnest. "Let me help. After what she did for me, it's the least I can offer." Simone nodded and guided Amara to the guest room. It was a suite in itself, with a king bed draped in white linens and a bathroom that could rival a spa. Marble tiles, a tub big enough for 3, stocked shelves of towels and products. She ran warm water, helping Amara out of her grimy clothes. The girl's ribs protruded starkly, old bruises mottling her arms and legs like faded maps of hardship. "When did you last eat?" Simone asked softly, keeping her voice steady. "Yesterday. A nice man at the bakery gave me a roll." Amara sank into the bath with a sigh, the water turning murky around her. "Is Mr. Blake really going to help me?" "I think so." Simone worked shampoo through the tangled cornrows. "Careful not to pull. You save his life. Honey, that matters." "I was so scared he wouldn't listen." Amara closed her eyes as Simone rinsed. "Nobody ever listens to street kids. We're invisible. You're not invisible anymore." After the bath, Simone wrapped Amara in a fluffy white robe that swallowed her small frame and carried her back to the living room. Food had arrived, a spread of sandwiches, fruit, soup, and cookies on silver trays. Amara's eyes bulged. "All this for me?" "Eat slowly," Jonathan advised gently, sitting across from them. "You'll make yourself sick otherwise." Amara devoured a sandwich, then sipped soup, her manner surprisingly careful despite her hunger. Between bites, she recounted everything to the detective. The 2 men by the kitchen entrance, their conversation in Mandarin about the device and the timing, how she'd shadowed Jonathan all evening, summoning the nerve to warn him. "You speak Chinese?" the detective asked, eyebrows raised. "And Spanish and some French and a little Arabic." Amara shrugged. "You learn languages when you need to eat. Different neighborhoods, different words." "She's gifted," Jonathan said quietly, a note of awe in his voice. The detective nodded, jotting notes. "We'll check the hotel footage. Identify these men. Whatever you need, Mr. Blake, my team is at your disposal." After the police departed, an awkward silence settled over the vast room. Amara curled on the couch, eyelids drooping, the day's adrenaline finally crashing. Simone sat beside her, unsure of her next move. Should she call a cab? Go home to her quiet life? "I'm calling social services," Jonathan announced, phone in hand. "No." Amara bolted upright, terror flashing across her face. "Please. They'll put me in a group home. I've been there. It's worse than the streets." "Amara," Simone started, her heart aching. "I'll leave. I won't bother you." The girl's voice cracked. "Just don't call them." Jonathan lowered his phone, sitting on the coffee table to face her. "What if I offered something different? What do you mean? Stay here tonight. Tomorrow, we'll figure out something better. Long term. He glanced at Simone. With proper supervision. Of course. I wouldn't want anyone to feel unsafe. Simone's mind raced. This was madness. You couldn't just take in a random child. Laws, protocols, risks. But those systems had already failed Amara, leaving her hungry and alone. I can stay in the guest room with her, Simone heard herself say. If that helps. Jonathan's expression softened. Thank you. And tomorrow, we'll do this right. Lawyers, social workers who care. Schools, medical care, whatever she needs. Why? Amara whispered, suspicion warring with hope. You don't know me. The words hung in the air, heavy as the night itself. Simone's chest tightened. She'd suspected something like this in the girl's appearance, but hearing it confirmed twisted her heart. Living on the streets? At her age? You've been out here alone? Simone asked gently. Near the market mostly. Amara mumbled, wiping her nose on her sleeve. People give me food if I help carry things. That's how I learned Chinese and Spanish and some French. I came here tonight because the lights looked pretty. I just wanted to see. A detective approached then, notebook in hand. Sir, we need statements from everyone, especially the child. She's a key witness. She's 7 years old and traumatized, Simone interjected firmly, surprising herself with protectiveness in her tone. Can this wait until morning? This is attempted murder, the detective replied. We need her account while it's fresh. Then do it somewhere warm and safe, Jonathan said, his authority returning. Not out here. My penthouse is 10 minutes away. You can take statements there. The detective frowned. That's irregular. So is a child saving my life? Jonathan's voice left no room for argument. She's coming with me. So is... He turned to Simone, really looking at her for the first time that night. Her warm brown skin, the curls framing her face, the steady calm in her dark eyes. I'm sorry. I don't know your name. Simone Carter. I coordinated your event tonight. Simone. He nodded. Thank you for staying with Amara. Will you come? I think she needs someone she feels safe with. Simone glanced at the girl, whose small hand still gripped hers tightly. At the bomb squad still working on the car, their lights casting eerie shadows. Every logical part of her brain screamed to go home, call her sister Tasha, process this madness in her cozy apartment across town. But Amara's eyes held such desperate hope, and Simone couldn't turn away. Yes, she said. I'll come. They rode to Jonathan's building in a police escort. Amara squeezed between them in the back seat of an unmarked car. The girl had stopped shaking, but she held Simone's hand like a lifeline. Jonathan spent the ride on his phone, speaking in low, urgent tones to his head of security, piecing together how this could have happened. Run full checks on the driver, he murmured, and pull hotel footage, kitchen entrance. The penthouse occupied the entire 40th floor, a sprawling expanse of glass and marble that overlooked the glittering skyline of Greenwich, Connecticut. Simone had glimpsed luxury before, but this was another world. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city like a painting, furniture that screamed modern art, everything pristine and gleaming under soft recessed lights. Amara's eyes widened as they stepped inside. Is this heaven? No, Jonathan said with a faint smile, the first real one Simone had seen from him. It softened his features, making him seem almost approachable. But you're safe here. That's what matters. He led them to a living room larger than Simone's entire apartment, with plush blue couches facing the panoramic view. The detective and 2 officers followed, setting up a recorder on the coffee table. Before we start, Jonathan said, this child needs food, clean clothes, and probably a doctor. Sir, the statement can wait 15 minutes. But Jonathan was already on his phone again. I'm having food sent up. Simone, there's a guest room down that hall. Second door. The bathroom has everything. Get Amara cleaned up. There should be robes at work until we get proper clothes. You don't have to, Simone began. Please. His gray eyes met hers, earnest. Let me help. After what she did for me, it's the least I can offer. Simone nodded and guided Amara to the guest room. It was a suite in itself, with a king bed draped in white linens and a bathroom that could rival a spa, marble tiles, a tub big enough for 3, stocked shelves of towels and products. She ran warm water, helping Amara out of her grimy clothes. The girl's ribs protruded starkly, old bruises mottling her arms and legs like faded maps of hardship. "When did you last eat?" Simone asked softly, keeping her voice steady. "Yesterday. A nice man at the bakery gave me a roll." Amara sank into the bath with a sigh, the water turning murky around her. "Is Mr. Blake really going to help me?" "I think so." Simone worked shampoo through the tangled cornrows. "Careful not to pull. You save his life. Honey, that matters." I was so scared he wouldn't listen. Amara closed her eyes as Simone rinsed. "Nobody ever listens to street kids. We're invisible. You're not invisible anymore." After the bath, Simone wrapped Amara in a fluffy white robe that swallowed her small frame and carried her back to the living room. Food had arrived, a spread of sandwiches, fruit, soup, and cookies on silver trays. Amara's eyes bulged. "All this for me?" "Eat slowly," Jonathan advised gently, sitting across from them. "You'll make yourself sick otherwise." Amara devoured a sandwich, then sipped soup, her manner surprisingly careful despite her hunger. Between bites, she recounted everything to the detective. The 2 men by the kitchen entrance, their conversation in Mandarin about the device and the timing, how she'd shadowed Jonathan all evening, summoning the nerve to warn him. "You speak Chinese?" the detective asked, eyebrows raised. "And Spanish and some French and a little Arabic." Amara shrugged. "You learn languages when you need to eat. Different neighborhoods, different words." "She's gifted," Jonathan said quietly, a note of awe in his voice. The detective nodded, jotting notes. "We'll check the hotel footage. Identify these men. Whatever you need, Mr. Blake, my team is at your disposal." After the police departed, an awkward silence settled over the vast room. Amara curled on the couch, eyelids drooping, the day's adrenaline finally crashing. Simone sat beside her, unsure of her next move. Should she call a cab? Go home to her quiet life? "I'm calling social services," Jonathan announced, phone in hand. "No." Amara bolted upright, terror flashing across her face. "Please. They'll put me in a group home. I've been there. It's worse in the streets." "Amara," Simone started, her heart aching. "I'll leave. I won't bother you." The girl's voice cracked. "Just don't call them." Jonathan lowered his phone, sitting on the coffee table to face her. "What if I offer something different?" "What do you mean?" "Stay here tonight. Tomorrow, we'll figure out something better. Long term." He glanced at Simone. "With proper supervision. Of course. I wouldn't want anyone to feel unsafe." Simone's mind raced. This was madness. You couldn't just take in a random child. Laws, protocols, risks. But those systems had already failed Amara, leaving her hungry and alone. "I can stay in the guest room with her," Simone heard herself say. "If that helps." Jonathan's expression softened. "Thank you. And tomorrow, we'll do this right. Lawyers, social workers who care. Schools, medical care, whatever she needs." "Why?" Amara whispered, suspicion warring with hope. "You don't know me." "You saved my life," Jonathan replied simply. "And nobody should sleep on the streets, especially not a brave, brilliant little girl who speaks 5 languages." Tears rolled down Amara's cheeks. "You mean it?" "I never say things I don't mean." Morning light streamed through the massive windows, gilding the city below. Simone woke to find Amara, already up, nose press-a-glass, staring at the streets 40 floors down. "You okay, sweetheart?" "I used to be down there." Amara pointed. "See that corner by the coffee shop? That's where I'd wait for tourists needing directions. I could see this building. I never thought I'd be inside it." Simone joined her, the height making her slightly dizzy. Life can change fast. It can change back fast, too. Amara's voice was small. "I'm waiting for someone to say it was a mistake, that I have to go back." Before Simone could respond, a knock sounded at the door. Jonathan entered, dressed in a fresh blue suit, carrying shopping bags. I had my assistant pick up some things. He set them on the bed. Clothes for both of you, I guess sizes. If they don't fit, we'll get others. Simone opened a bag. Outfits in her exact size. Jeans, sweaters, a red dress that screamed designer. Underwear, socks, everything. How did you know my size? I called the designer who made your blouse last night. Asked her. He looked almost sheepish. I hope that's not too strange. I just thought you might want fresh clothes. It's thoughtful. And it was surprisingly so from a man she'd pegged as attached. Amara's bags overflowed with bright colors. Purples, blues, greens. Sneakers, a winter coat, star-patterned pajamas. The girl touched each item reverently, as if they might vanish. These are mine. Yours. Jonathan smiled. I called my lawyer at 6 this morning. She's researching options for your situation. We're doing this properly, but... He looked at Amara. I meant what I said. You're not going back to the streets. What about school? Amara asked quietly. What about it? I've never been. I can read a little I taught myself, but I don't know math or science or anything. Jonathan's smile widened. You speak 5 languages. You remembered a complex conversation in Chinese and acted on it. Trust me, you'll do fine in school. We'll find the right one. Simone watched him crouch to talk to the scared child, this powerful man showing a side she hadn't expected. The cold billionaire was melting, revealing layers beneath. Why are you really doing this? She asked when Tamara was dressing. I need to understand. Jonathan paused, his gaze distant. I had a younger sister, Lily. She was 7 when she died. Leukemia, 15 years ago. His voice remained steady, but pain flickered in his eyes. Every charity I fund, every children's cause, it's for her. When I saw Amara last night, so brave and alone, I couldn't walk away. Lily wouldn't have wanted me to. I'm sorry, Simone said softly. Don't be. Lily would have loved this, helping someone who needed it. He straightened. Get dressed. We have appointments. Doctors, lawyers, then lunch wherever Amara chooses. Anywhere. Amara emerged in purple jeans and a yellow shirt, beaming as she twirled. Anywhere in the city. The girl thought hard. There's a place called Rosa's Kitchen near where I lived. She makes the best rice and beans. Sometimes she gave me leftovers. Then that's where we'll go. Jonathan stood. A different driver today, and a different car. Security swept it. This morning, after he left the room, Simone helped Amara into her new sneakers. The girl staring at herself in the mirror. Is this real? Amara whispered. It's real. Simone knelt. What if I mess it up? What if I say something wrong or break something expensive? Then we'll figure it out. But you're not going to mess up by being yourself. Mr. Blake sees something special in you. So do I. Will you stay? Amara grabbed her hand. I know you have your own life, but I feel safe with you here. Simone thought of her apartment, her event calendar, her carefully ordered world. I'll stay as long as you need me, she promised. I promise. The doctor's appointment revealed the harsh toll of street life. Malnourishment, underweight, signs of chronic stress. But Amara was otherwise healthy. Remarkably so, the doctor noted, for a child who's been on her own for 2 years. 2 years. Jonathan's face went ashen. With my grandmother after my parents died, Amara explained quietly, but she got sick and died too. Social services came, but I ran from the group home. It was loud and mean, nobody cared. The doctor prescribed vitamins, a nutrition plan, regular checkups. Jonathan noted everything meticulously, his hand steady despite the shake in his voice when he asked questions. At the lawyer's office, Patricia Torres, a kind woman with sharp legal acumen, outlined options: emergency foster care, long-term placement, possible adoption. What do you want, Amara? She asked gently. Amara glanced at Jonathan, then Simone. I want to stay with them. Both of them. Is that allowed? Patricia looked at Simone. Are you family? A partner? No, Simone hesitated. I met Mr. Blake last night. I coordinated his event. So you barely know each other. Patricia frowned. The courts prefer stable, established homes. Then start the process, Jonathan said firmly. Whatever you need, background checks, home studies. I'll open my life for inspection. I have a guest suite for Amara. I'll hire tutors, therapists. And you? Patricia turned to Simone. Simone felt Amara's hand slip into hers. I want to help however I can. Could you stay on as a guardian? Patricia suggested. A female presence would strengthen the case. Someone Amara has bonded with. Simone thought of her job, her independence, her fear of attachment after past heartbreaks. But Amara's hopeful eyes won. Yes, she said. I'll stay. Jonathan's eyes met hers across the desk, gratitude shining through. Thank you. They signed preliminary forms, agreeing to visits and evaluations. Nothing guaranteed, but as they left 2 hours later, Amara had temporary placement with Jonathan. Simone as live-in guardian. At Rosa's kitchen, a cozy spot with plastic tables and vibrant murals, Rosa herself, a round woman with silver hair, hugged Amara tightly. Mija, where have you been? I've worried sick. I'm okay now, Rosa. This is Mr. Blake and Miss Simone. They're helping me. Rosa eyed Jonathan suspiciously. Helping how? She's staying with me. Legally, properly. School, everything she needs. You better mean that. Rosa jabbed a wooden spoon at him. This girl is special. Hurt her, you answer to me. Jonathan smiled warmly. Deal. Now, Amara says you make the best rice and beans. Would like to try. They ate at a corner table, Amara devouring 2 plates while chatting about the neighborhood. The kind souls, the harsh ones. Rosa brought extra food, tears in her eyes as she watched. Thank you, she told Jonathan as they left, for seeing what others didn't, that she matters. She saved my life, he replied. She matters more than she knows. In the car back, Amara dozed against Simone's shoulder. Jonathan watched the city blur by. I need to tell you something, he said quietly. My head of security identified the men Amara heard. They work for a rival, Richard Chin. Wanted me out before a big deal closes. Simone's stomach nodded. Are we safe? My team's the best. The men were arrested this morning. He met her eyes. But there might be more threats. I need you to know what you're getting into. Are you asking me to leave? No, giving you the choice. With full information. Simone looked at the sleeping child. I'm staying. We'll face it together. Jonathan nodded. Together. I like that. The afternoon was spent setting up Amara's room. Jonathan's assistant had furnished it. Bed, desk, bookshelves. But he insisted on shopping. Amara picked purple star sheets, cat posters, a stuffed elephant she clutched. I never had my own room, she said, awed. You do now, Jonathan assured. Yours forever. That evening, after Amara's bath and 3 bedtime stories from Simone, the girl drifted off. Simone found Jonathan in the kitchen making tea. He looked younger in jeans and a green shirt. Thank you, he said, offering a cup, for everything today. I'm not sure I had a choice. That girl grabbed my heart. I know the feeling. He leaned against the counter. I need to apologize for last night. I didn't acknowledge your gala work. I was focused on the next thing. I do that. Miss what's in front of me. You're paying attention now. Amara taught me that. He studied her. About you staying. The guest suite is yours, private. I'll arrange for your things, and I'd like to pay you a salary. You're putting your life on hold. I don't need. Please. You're giving stability. That's worth it. Simone considered her bills, her freedom. Okay, thank you. Thank you for taking a chance on us. He smiled. We're new at this family thing. So am I. Simone smiled back. We'll figure out together. That night, in an enormous guest bed, Simone listened to the city hum. Her phone buzzed. Tasha demanding explanations. She texted a short version. Saved a billionaire's life. Helping a child. Staying at his place. Call tomorrow. Tasha's reply, what? Call now. But Simone was too exhausted. Tomorrow. For now. Sleep? Knowing tomorrow was safe. That they'd begun something profound. The morning light filtered through the penthouse's massive windows, casting a golden glow over the sleek kitchen where Simone stood, stirring cream into her coffee. Amara sat at the counter, her legs swinging as she munched on a blueberry muffin, crumbs dusting her new purple pajama top. The girl's eyes darted around, still adjusting to the opulence, a far cry from the market corners and alleyways she'd call home. Jonathan was already up, pacing the living room with his phone pressed to his ear, his voice low but urgent. Simone caught fragments. Security upgrades, full sweep, Chin's associates. The name Richard Chin sent a shiver through her. Yesterday's arrest hadn't ended the threat, and the weight of that reality settled heavily in the room. Simone set her mug down and slid a plate of scrambled eggs toward Amara. Eat something besides muffins, sweetheart. You heard the doctor. Protein's important. Amara grinned, picking up a fork. These are better than the ones I found in a diner dumpster once. Those were kind of green. Simone's stomach twisted, but she kept her smile steady. No more dumpsters. Promise me. Promise. Amara's grin faded slightly. Miss Simone, is it okay if I call you that? It feels nice. Of course it is. Simone reached over, squeezing her hand. You can call me whatever feels right. Jonathan ended his call and joined them, his navy sweater softening the sharp edges of his usual demeanor. Good morning, you too. Amara, sleep okay? Like a rock, she said, then hesitated. I kept thinking I'd wake up back on the street, but I didn't. You won't, Jonathan said firmly, sitting across from her. I just spoke with my security team. The penthouse is locked down, cameras, guards, the works. You're safe here. Amara nodded, but her eyes flicked to the windows, as if expecting danger to climb 40 floors. Simone caught the look and changed the subject. What's the plan today, Mr. Blake? Jonathan, please. He sipped his coffee. First, a tutor's coming at 10 to assess Amara's reading and math. Then lunch. Your choice again, Amara. After that, my lawyer's updating us on the foster process. And the police? Simone asked quietly, glancing at Amara to gauge her reaction. They're digging into Chin's network, Jonathan replied, keeping his tone neutral. The 2 men from the hotel are in custody, but we need to stay cautious. My team's handling it. Amara pushed her eggs around her plate. Those men, are they mad at me for telling? No, sweetheart, Simone said quickly, leaning closer. They're mad at themselves for getting caught. You did the right thing. Jonathan nodded. You're a hero, Amara. Don't ever doubt that. The tutor, a warm woman named Ms. Linda with gray curls and a knack for making fractions sound like a game, arrived promptly. She sat up in the dining room, spreading books and worksheets across the polished table. Amara hesitated at first, clutching her stuffed elephant, but Ms. Linda's gentle questions about her favorite stories drew her in. Simone watched from the doorway, marveling at how quickly Amara absorbed new concepts, her quick mind piecing together words and numbers despite years without formal schooling. She's extraordinary, Ms. Linda told Simone and Jonathan afterward. Her reading's at a 3rd grade level, math a bit lower, but her ability to learn languages? That's rare. I'd recommend a private school with accelerated programs once she's caught up. Jonathan nodded, jotting notes. We'll find the best fit. Cost isn't an issue. Simone raised an eyebrow. You're moving fast. I don't waste time when something matters, he replied, a flicker of intensity in his gray eyes. And Amara matters. Lunch was at a pizzeria Amara picked, a small place with checkered tablecloths and the smell of fresh dough. She devoured 2 slices of pepperoni, chattering about Ms. Linda's fraction tricks. Jonathan listened intently, asking questions that made Amara light up, while Simone noticed a plainclothes security guard lingering near the door. The normalcy of pizza and laughter felt fragile, like a bubble waiting to pop. Back at the penthouse, Patricia Torres arrived with a thick folder. Her suit was crisp, her demeanor calm but serious. The emergency foster placement is solid for now, she explained, spreading papers on a coffee table. Amara can stay here under your care, Jonathan, with Simone as co-guardian. But the court will want a home study, background checks, and interviews. Adoption's a longer road, months, maybe a year. Amara, curled on the couch with her elephant, looked up. Adoption? Like forever? If you want it, Jonathan said gently. No pressure. We take this one step at a time. I want it, Amara said, her voice small but certain. But what if they say no? Because I'm, not like you. Simone's heart clenched. She knelt beside Amara. Not like him how? You're brave, smart, and kind. That's what matters. Patricia smiled. The court cares about stability and care. Jonathan's resources and your bond with Simone make a strong case. We'll fight for it. After Patricia left, Jonathan's phone buzzed again. He stepped into his office, but Simone caught the edge of his conversation. Chin's out on bail. Tighten everything. Her pulse quickened. She glanced at Mara, now flipping through a picture book, oblivious to the new threat. That evening, Simone helped Amara with her bath, re-braiding her cornrows with care. You're good at this, Amara said, watching in the mirror. My grandma used to braid my hair. She said it was like weaving stories. That's beautiful, Simone replied, her fingers steady despite the unease creeping into her chest. Tell me about her. She sang all the time, old songs about love and rivers. She said I was her sunshine. Amara's voice softened. She's gone now, but sometimes I hear her when I sleep. Simone hugged her gently. She's still with you, in your heart. As Amara settled into bed, Simone lingered, reading another chapter of a book about a girl detective. The story's bravery seemed to soothe Amara, her eyelids drooping. Simone dimmed the light and stepped out, finding Jonathan in the living room, staring at the city lights. Chin's out? She asked quietly. He nodded, his jaw tight. Bail was high, but he paid it. My team's tracking his moves. He's a businessman, not a thug, but he's desperate. This deal I'm closing, it could ruin him. Simone crossed her arms. So we're in danger? Amara's in danger? I've doubled security. Cameras, guards, a panic room if it comes to that. I won't let anything happen to either of you. She studied him. The lines of worry etched into his face. Why is this deal so important? Enough to kill for. Jonathan hesitated, then sat, gesturing for her to join him. It's a merger. My company's acquiring a competitor. One chin's been bleeding dry for years. If it goes through, his empire crumbles. He's got investors breathing down his neck. And he's not the type to lose gracefully. Simone's mind raced, and Amara heard his men. She's a witness, which is why she stays here protected. His voice softened. I meant what I said about adoption. I know it's fast, but when I saw her yesterday, it was like seeing Lily again. My sister. She was so full of life. And then he stopped, his throat working. I couldn't save her, but I can save Amara. Simone's chest tightened. She wanted to reach out, but held back. You're not just saving her. You're giving her a future. And you're helping make that real. His eyes met hers, warm and unguarded. I didn't expect you to stay, Simone. You could have walked away. I tried, she admitted with a small laugh. But Amara's got a way of pulling you in. She does. He smiled, then sobered. I need be honest. Things might get worse before they get better. Chin's not done. Then we face it together, she said, echoing her words from yesterday. For Amara, he agreed. The next morning, a doctor arrived for Amara's follow-up. She was a pediatric specialist, Dr. Patel, with a gentle voice and a knack for making Amara laugh. But her findings were sobering. Based on bone density and growth markers, I'd estimate Amara's closer to 9 years old, not 7, she said, showing x-rays to Jonathan and Simone in the study. Malnutrition can stunt growth, make a child appear younger. 9, Simone whispered, glancing at Amara, who was coloring in the next room. She's been through so much. She's resilient, Dr. Patel said. With proper care, she'll catch up physically. Emotionally, she'll need stability. You're doing the right thing, keeping her here. Jonathan nodded, his expression unreadable. Anything else she needs? Time and love, Dr. Patel said simply. You're off to a good start. After the doctor left, Simone sat with Amara, explaining the age discovery gently. Does this mean I'm not a kid anymore? Amara asked, her brow furrowing. No way, Simone said, tickling her side. You're still a kid, just a super smart, super tough one. Amara giggled, but her eyes were serious. If I'm 9, can I still stay with you and Jonathan? Absolutely, Jonathan said, joining them. We're celebrating your real age from now on. What do you say, big party when you turn 10? Her face lit up. With cake. The biggest cake in Connecticut. That afternoon, they took Amara to a park, security discreetly trailing. She ran through the grass, chasing a soccer ball Jonathan kicked gently, her laughter ringing out. Simone watched, her heart swelling, but the shadow of Chin lingered. She noticed Jonathan scanning the perimeter, his phone buzzing constantly. Anything new? She asked when Amara was out of earshot. My team's tracking a few of Chin's associates. Nothing concrete yet. He kicked the ball back to Amara. Let's keep today light for her. Dinner was takeout from a Thai place Amara chose, her adventurous palate surprising them both. I used to smell this in the restaurant vents, she said, slurping noodles. Never thought I'd eat it. Jonathan's smile was bittersweet. You'll try every food you want from now on. As night fell, Simone tucked Amara in, reading another detective chapter. The girl clung to her hand. Miss Simone, if those bad men come, will you and Jonathan keep me safe? We will, Simone promised, her throat tight. Always. In the living room, Jonathan poured her a glass of wine. You're good with her, he said. Better than I am. You're learning, Simone replied, sipping. She trusts you. I hope so. He sat, his gaze distant. I keep thinking about Lily. She'd have been Amara's age now, maybe a bit older. I wonder what she'd think of all this. She'd be proud, Simone said softly. You're giving Amara what you couldn't give Lily, a second chance. He looked at her, something unspoken passing between them. You're making this possible, Simone. I don't say that lightly. She felt a warmth she hadn't expected, quickly changing the subject. What's next with Chin? Police are building a case. I'm testifying when it goes to trial. Amara might need to, but I'll fight to keep her out of it. Good, Simone said. She's been through enough. They sat in comfortable silence, the city lights twinkling below. Simone thought of her own life, her sister Tasha's calls, her event business on hold. Yet here she was part of something bigger, something that felt like a family, however fragile. Have you ever had a moment where a small act of courage changed your life or someone else's? Share your thoughts in the comment. We'd love to hear your story. The penthouse was quiet, save for the soft hum of the city beyond the windows and the faint clink of dishes as Simone loaded the dishwasher. It was early, the sky still bruised with dawn, and Amara was still asleep, her new routine of late mornings a luxury she'd never known. Simone moved carefully, her mind replaying the past few days, the gala, the car, the revelation of Amara's true age. The weight of Richard Chin's release on bail hung over her like a storm cloud, and though Jonathan's security measures were airtight, she couldn't shake the feeling that safety was temporary, a thin veneer over a world ready to crack. Jonathan emerged from his office, his hair slightly tousled, a tablet in hand. He'd been up since before dawn, coordinating with a security team and lawyers. Morning, he said, his voice quieter than usual. Coffee's fresh if you want it. Thanks. Simone poured a cup, noting the tension in his shoulders. Any updates? He hesitated, glancing toward Amara's room. Chin's been quiet, but my team intercepted some encrypted communications from his associates. Nothing actionable yet, but they're planning something. We're increasing security again, discreetly, so Amara doesn't notice. Simone's grip tightened on her mug. She's already scared. If she senses more guards, she'll know something's wrong. I know. Jonathan ran a hand through his hair. I'm trying to keep her world steady. She deserves that much. Simone nodded, her thoughts drifting to Amara's laughter at the park yesterday. The way she'd kicked the soccer ball with abandon. She's starting to trust this life. We can't let that break. We won't. His gray eyes met hers, resolute. I've got a meeting with my head of security today, and the police are digging deeper into Chin's network. We'll stay ahead of this. Amara shuffled into the kitchen then, rubbing her eyes, her stuffed elephant tucked under one arm. "Morning, Miss Simone." "Morning, Jonathan." She climbed onto a stool, reaching for the orange juice. "Is Miss Linda coming today?" "She is," Jonathan said, his tone brightening. "And after, we're going shopping again. You need more school supplies, and maybe a few fun things for your room." Amara's face lit up. "Can I get a telescope? I saw one in a store window once. It looked like it could see the stars up close." "A telescope it is," Jonathan said, smiling. "We'll find the best one." Simone watched the exchange, her heart warming at Amara's growing ease. But the shadow of Chin lingered, and she caught Jonathan's eye, a silent agreement to keep the day light for the girl's sake. Ms. Linda arrived at 10, her bag brimming with new books and math games. Amara dove in, her focus intense as she tackled multiplication tables. Simone lingered nearby, pretended to organize her event planner notes, but really watching Amara's quick mind at work. The girl was a sponge, absorbing concepts with a hunger that made Simone ache for the years she'd lost to the streets. "She's catching up fast," Ms. Linda said during a break, sipping tea with Simone in the living room. "Her language skills are a gift. She could be fluent in Mandarin with a little formal study. And her resilience, it's remarkable. She's been through more than most adults," Simone said softly. "I just hope we can give her what she needs now." "You are," Ms. Linda said. "Structure, love, safety. It's already changing her." Jonathan joined them, having finished the call. "Ms. Linda, I'd like to discuss schools. I want options that challenge Amara, but don't overwhelm her." They spent the next hour reviewing brochures for private schools in Greenwich and nearby cities, each boasting small classes and gifted programs. Simone noticed Jonathan's meticulous questions about counseling services, extracurriculars, even bullying policies. He was all in, building a future for a girl he'd known for days. After Ms. Linda left, they headed to a high-end stationery store, Amara practically bouncing with excitement. She picked out a backpack with constellation patterns, notebooks, and a set of colored pens, her eyes wide as Jonathan added a telescope to cart without blinking. Simone caught the cashier's curious glance. A black woman, a white billionaire, and a child who didn't quite fit either world. She ignored it, focusing on Amara's joy as she clutched her new treasures. Lunch was at a diner Amara chose, a place she'd passed countless times but never entered. The waitress, a woman with kind eyes and a name tag reading Gloria, recognized Amara. "You're the little one who used to wait outside for scraps," she said, her voice soft. "Look at you now, all cleaned up and happy." Amara beamed, ordering a cheeseburger with extra fries. "I live with them now," she said, pointing to Jonathan and Simone. "They're my family." Gloria's eyes misted. "You hold on to that, sweetheart." Simone felt a lump in her throat, and even Jonathan looked affected, his usual composure softening. "We're lucky to have her," he said, his voice low. Back at the penthouse, Amara set up her telescope by the window, Jonathan helping her adjust the lens to catch a glimpse of the afternoon sky. Simone watched, her phone buzzing with a text from her sister Tasha. "You're living with a billionaire and a kid now? Girl, you need to spill all the details tonight." Simone smiled, typing a quick promise before joining Amara and Jonathan. "See anything yet?" she asked. "Not stars, but I can see the top of that building." Amara said, pointing, "It's like I'm flying." Jonathan chuckled, but his phone buzzed, and his face tightened as he read the message. He stepped away, motioning for Simone to follow. In the hallway, he kept his voice low. "My security chief just called. One of Chin's associates, Eric Wade, was spotted near my office building. He's a low-level fixer, but dangerous. They lost him in traffic." Simone's heart sank. "What does that mean for us?" "We stay vigilant. I'm adding another guard to the penthouse, and we're limiting outings for a few days." He glanced at Amara, still engrossed in her telescope. "I don't want her scared, but we need to tell her something." They agreed on a gentle version of the truth. Sitting Amara down, Simone took the lead. "Sweetheart, the police are still working on catching the people who tried to hurt Jonathan. So we're going to stay here for a bit Keep things safe. Amara's eyes narrowed. Is it those men I heard? Are they coming for me? No, Jonathan said firmly. They're not coming for you. My team's making sure of that. You focus on your telescope and schoolwork, okay? She nodded, but her grip on her elephant tightened. Okay, but you'll tell me if something bad happens, right? Always, Simone promised, brushing a braid from her face. That evening, the penthouse felt different, more fortress than home. 2 new guards stood by the elevator, their presence subtle but unmistakable. Simone cooked dinner, spaghetti and meatballs, Amar's request. Try and keep things normal. Jonathan joined them, setting aside his phone for the first time all day. They played a board game after, Amar's laughter filling the room as she beat them at Connect Four. But later, as Simone tucked Amara in, the girl's voice was small. Miss Simone, what if the bad men find us? They won't, Simone said, her voice steady despite her own fears. Jonathan's got the best people watching out for us. And I'm right here. Amara nodded, clutching her elephant. Can you leave the light on? Of course. In the living room, Jonathan was on his laptop, reviewing security footage. Simone sat across from him, her nerves frayed. How bad is it? She asked. He closed the laptop, rubbing his temples. Wade's a ghost, slippery, good at disappearing. But my team's closing in. The police have leads from the hotel footage. It's just a matter of time. Simone nodded, but the unease lingered. Jonathan, why do you trust me with all this? We barely know each other. He looked at her, his gaze steady. Because you stayed. Because Amara trusts you, and I trust her instincts. And because, he hesitated, a rare crack in his confidence. You're steady, Simone. I've built a life on control, but this Amara, this threat, it's messy. You handle messy well. She laughed softly, surprised. Messy's my specialty. Events are chaos until they're not. Then we're lucky to have you. His smile was brief but genuine, and for a moment, the weight of the day lifted. The next morning, Amara woke early, eager for Ms. Linda's lessons. But as they sat at the dining table, a sharp knock at the door made Simone jump. Jonathan answered, revealing Tom Fletcher, his head of security, a burly man with a no-nonsense demeanor. Sir, we need to talk, Tom said, glancing at Simone. Privately. Jonathan led him to the office, but Simone caught the door before it closed. If it's about Amara or us, I want to know. Jonathan nodded, letting her in. Tom's face was grim. Wade was spotted 2 blocks away last night. We think he's scouting. Chin's desperate. He knows the merger's closing in a week. What's the plan? Jonathan asked. We move you to a safe house tomorrow. Smaller, off-grid, easier to secure. Just until the merger's done and Chin's locked up for good. Simone's stomach dropped. A safe house? What about Amara's tutoring, her routine? We'll bring Ms. Linda. Jonathan said, we'll make it an adventure for her. Tom nodded. We're also installing panic buttons here and at the safe house. If anything happens, you hit one and my team's there in minutes. After Tom left, Simone sat with Jonathan, her mind racing. A safe house feels like running. It's strategic, he said. Chin's playing a long game. We need to outlast him. She nodded, but the idea of uprooting Amara so soon after giving her stability stung. That afternoon, they broke the news to Amara, framing it as a special trip to a cozy house with a big backyard. She seemed excited, but her eyes held questions she didn't ask. The safe house was a modern cabin in a wooded area an hour from Greenwich, surrounded by security cameras and guarded by Tom's team. Amara explored the yard, finding a tree swing, while Simone unpacked essentials. Jonathan worked from a secure office, his focus split between the merger and their safety. That night, as Simone read to Amara, the girl whispered, "This is like a spy movie. Are we spies now?" Simone chuckled. Maybe a little, but the good kind, keeping each other safe. Amara nodded, drifting off. Simone joined Jonathan in the living room, where he was reviewing merger documents. "She's okay," she said, "but she senses something's off." "I know," he said, his voice heavy. "I hate this. hiding, disrupting her life. But I won't lose her. Or you. The words hung between them, unexpected and raw. Simone met his gaze, seeing the man beneath the billionaire, scared, determined, human. We're tougher than we look, she said softly. All three of us. He smiled, a flicker of warmth and attention. I'm starting to see that. Have you ever had to make a tough choice to protect someone you care about, even if it meant disrupting their world? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how you faced it. The safe house was deceptively serene, tucked into a wooded enclave where the leaves glowed crimson under the late October sun. The modern cabin, with its sharp angles and floor-to-ceiling windows, felt more like a retreat than a fortress, but the armed guards patrolling the perimeter and the faint hum of security cameras reminded Simone of the stakes. Amara, oblivious of the tension, swung on the tree swing outside, her laughter carrying to the crisp air as she clutched her stuffed elephant. Simone watched from the porch, a mug of tea warming her hands, but her eyes kept darting to the tree line, half expecting a shadow to move. Jonathan's assurances of safety felt fragile, like a promise made on borrowed time. Inside, Jonathan was hunched over his laptop in the small office, finalizing merger documents. The deal was days away, and the pressure was palpable. Every call, every email, a step closer to dismantling Richard Chin's empire. Simone had overheard enough to know the stakes. Billions in assets, thousands of jobs, and a personal vendetta that had nearly cost Jonathan his life. She glanced at Amara again, the girl's joy a stark contrast to the dangers circling them. How do you protect a child's newfound hope when the world keeps trying to break it? Tom Fletcher, Jonathan's head of security, arrived mid-morning, his face etched with new lines of worry. "We need to talk," he said, nodding to Simone to join them in the office. She hesitated, not wanting to leave Amara alone, but a guard was stationed near the swing, and Ms. Linda was due any minute for lessons. Reluctantly, she followed. "What's happened?" Jonathan asked, closing his laptop. Tom's voice was low, urgent. "Eric Wade made a move last night. Tried to access one of your company's servers remotely. Our cyber team caught it, but he's getting bolder. We think he's nearby, possibly coordinating with others." Simone's stomach nodded. "Nearby? As in here?" "We're not sure," Tom admitted. "We've swept a 5-mile radius, increased drones, but Wade's slippery. He's got a history of evading capture, ex-military, trained in surveillance." Jonathan's jaw tightened. "What's the plan?" "We stay put for now," Tom said. "This place is secure. Cameras, motion sensors, panic buttons in every room. But we're adding 2 more guards and a tech specialist to monitor signals. If Wade's close, we'll find him." "And the merger?" Simone asked, surprising herself with the question. Jonathan glanced at her, a flicker of appreciation in his eyes. "It's on track. I'm signing final papers tomorrow. Once it's done, Chin's leverage collapses. He'll have no reason to come after us." "Assuming he's rational," Simone said, her voice sharp. "He tried to kill you, Jonathan. That's not a man who gives up easily." Tom nodded. "She's right. Desperate men do desperate things. We're prepared for anything, but you both need to stay alert. No unnecessary risks." After Tom left, Simone found Amara inside, setting up her telescope by the living room window. "Can I look at the moon tonight?" the girl asked, her eyes bright. "Ms. Linda said it's almost full." "Absolutely," Simone said, forcing a smile. "We'll have a moon watching party, just the 3 of us." Amara grinned, but her gaze flicked to the guard outside. Why are there more men with guns now? Simone's heart sank. She knelt beside her. They're just extra help to keep us safe while Jonathan finishes some important work. Nothing to worry about. Amara's eyes narrowed, too sharp for her age. "It's those bad men, isn't it? The ones I heard." Simone hesitated, then nodded slightly. "The police are handling it, sweetheart. You focus on your telescope and lessons, okay?" "Okay," Amara said, but her grip on her elephant tightened, a silent plea for reassurance. Ms. Linda arrived, her cheerful presence a balm. She set up math games and a book about constellations, keeping Amara engaged. Simone lingered nearby, her phone buzzing with a text from Tasha. You're in a safe house now? Simone, what is happening? Call me. Simone typed a quick soon promise and pocketed her phone. She caught Jonathan watching her from the office doorway, his expression unreadable. You okay? He asked. Trying to be, she admitted. This feels like a movie, one I didn't sign up for. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. I know it's a lot. If you need to step back. No, she cut in, sharper than intended. I'm here for Amara. And you, we're in this together. His eyes softened. Together, he echoed, a quiet vow. That afternoon, they kept things light for Amara, playing board games and helping her sketch constellations for a science project. But the air felt charged, every creak of the cabin or buzz of Jonathan's phone setting Simone's nerves on edge. By evening, the tension was unbearable. Amara, sensing it, grew quieter, her usual chatter fading as she clung to Simone during dinner, mac and cheese, her comfort food. As night fell, they set up the telescope on the deck for the promised moon watching. The full moon hung low, casting a silver glow over the trees. Amara adjusted the lens, her face lighting up. It's so big. Look, Miss Simone, you can see craters. Simone peered through, marveling at the moon's stark beauty. It's incredible, sweetheart. Jonathan joined them, his smile strained but genuine. You're a natural astronomer, Amara. They were laughing, passing the telescope, when a sharp crack split the air, a branch snapping in the woods. The guard on the deck tensed, hand on his radio. Stay here, he whispered, signaling another guard to check the perimeter. Simone's heart pounded. She pulled Amara close, her eyes locked on Jonathan. What was that? Probably nothing, he said, but his hand moved to the panic button clipped to his belt. Let's go inside. They hurried into the living room, Amara clutching her elephant, her eyes wide. Is it them? She whispered. Before Simone could answer, the lights flickered, then went out, plunging the cabin into darkness. Amara gasped, and Simone tightened her grip. It's okay, sweetheart. Just a power glitch. Jonathan's phone lit up as he dialed Tom. What's happening? He demanded. Possible breach. Tom's voice crackled through. Get to the panic room. Now. Jonathan grabbed Amara's hand, pulling her and Simone toward a hidden panel in the hallway. He pressed a code, and a door slid open, revealing a small, reinforced room with monitors and supplies. They locked themselves in, the door sealing with a heavy thud. Amara was shaking, and Simone held her close, murmuring, We're safe here. It's okay. Jonathan checked the monitors, his face grim. Cameras are down. Backup power's on. But someone cut the main line. Simone's pulse raced. Wade. Maybe. He pulled a radio from a shelf. Tom, status. Perimeter secure, but we found a device. Signal jammer. We're sweeping now. Stay put. Amara buried her face in Simone's shoulder. I'm sorry I told about the car. Now they're mad. No, sweetheart, Simone said fiercely. You saved Jonathan's life. You did the right thing. Jonathan knelt beside them. Amara, listen to me. You're the bravest person I know. This isn't your fault. It's theirs. And we're going to be okay. Minutes dragged like hours. The only sound to Amara's soft whimpers and the crackle of the radio. Finally, Tom's voice came through. All clear. It was Wade. He's in custody. Simone exhaled, her body sagging. He's caught. He surrendered, Tom said, appearing on the monitor as the cameras flickered back on. Walked out of the woods. Hands up, said he wanted to talk. Jonathan frowned. Talk? After all this? He's got information, Tom said. Says he'll give up Chin's entire network if we guarantee protection. Simone looked at Jonathan. Can we trust him? No, Jonathan said. But we listen. If he's got evidence, it could end this. They emerged from the panic room. Amara, still clinging to Simone. The cabin's lights were back, guards posted at every entrance. Tom met them in the living room, his face weary. Wade's in a holding van. He claims Chin's planning something bigger, a move against your company. Maybe you're bored. He wants a deal. Jonathan's eyes narrowed. Set it up with the police. I want everything he knows. Tom nodded and left. Amara looked up, her voice small. Is it over now? Not yet, Jonathan said honestly. But we're closer. You did good, staying brave. Simone hugged her tightly. You're our hero, you know that? Amara managed a small smile, but her eyes were heavy with exhaustion. Simone carried her to bed, reading until she fell asleep, the elephant tucked under her chin. In the living room, Jonathan poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handing one to Simone. That was too close, he said, his voice rough. She sipped, the burn grounding her. What's Wade's angle? Why surrender? Could be self-preservation, Jonathan said, Chin's losing control. Wade might see the writing on the wall. Or it's a trap, Simone said, her event planner mind spinning worst-case scenarios. Possible. He met her gaze. You were incredible tonight. Keeping Amara calm, keeping me calm. She laughed softly. I was terrified. So was I, he admitted, surprising her. But you make it easier to face. The words hung between them, warm and heavy. Simone looked away, her cheeks heating. We're doing this for her, she said, nodding toward Amara's room. And for us, he added quietly. This is starting to feel like more than just protection. She didn't respond, but the air felt charged, a connection she wasn't ready to name. They sat in silence, the weight of the night settling. But for the first time, Simone felt a flicker of hope that they might outlast a storm. Have you ever faced a moment where fear tested your strength, but you pushed through for someone else? Share your experience in the comments. We'd love to hear how you found courage. The safe house felt less like a prison in the morning light, the woods outside glowing with the soft gold of autumn. Simone stood at the kitchen counter, slicing apples for Amara's breakfast, the rhythm of the knife grounding her after the previous night's chaos. Amara sat cross-legged on the living room rug, her telescope abandoned as she pored over a new book about planets Ms. Linda had brought. The girl's focus was fierce, but her occasional glances at the guarded windows betrayed her lingering fear. Jonathan was in the office, his voice a low murmur through the door as he spoke with his legal team and security, piecing together Eric Wade's surrender and what it meant for their safety. Simone set the apple slices on a plate with peanut butter, calling softly, Amara, come eat. The girl scampered over, her stuffed elephant tucked under one arm, her purple pajamas slightly too big, but worn with pride. Do I have to do math today? Amara asked, dipping an apple slice. I like the planet book better. Simone smiled, brushing a crumb from Amara's cheek. Math and planets go together. You need numbers to measure stars, right? Amara's eyes lit up. Like how far the moon is? Exactly. Ms. Linda will show you how it all connects. Jonathan emerged, his face drawn but determined. He'd traded his usual polished look for a simple gray sweater and jeans, making him seem more like a man than a mogul. Morning, Amara, he said, ruffling her hair. Ready to impress Ms. Linda again? Only if I can skip fractions, Amara teased, then sobered. Is that man from last night gone for good? Jonathan sat across from her, his tone gentle but honest. He's with the police now, talking to them. We're safer because of it, but we're still being careful. Amara nodded, her small fingers tracing the edge of her plate. I don't want to hide forever. You won't, Simone said, her voice firm. We're working on making things normal again. After breakfast, Ms. Linda arrived, her cheerful energy cutting through the tension. She sat up at the dining table, pulling Amara into a lesson about the solar system, complete with a model of orbiting planets. Simone watched from the couch, her event planner instincts itching to organize something, anything, to reclaim a sense of control. But her phone buzzed, Tasha's name flashing. You're dodging me. Safe house? Danger? Call me. Simone stepped onto the porch to call her sister, the crisp air sharpening her senses. Tasha, I'm fine, she said when her sister picked up. It's complicated, but I'm okay. Complicated? Tasha's voice was sharp. You're living with a billionaire, guarding a kid, dodging assassins? Simone, this ain't your life. I know, Simone said, glancing at the guard by the tree line. But Amara needs me. And Jonathan, he's not what I expected. He's trying to do right by her. Tasha sighed. You're in deep, sis. Just promise me you're safe. I am. We've got security out the ears. I'll explain everything soon. You better. Love you. Love you too. Simone hung up, her chest tight. Tasha was right. This wasn't her life. Yet here she was, tethered to a child and a man she barely knew, and somehow it felt right. Back inside, Jonathan was on a call with his lawyer, Patricia Torres. Simone caught the tail end. Wade's testimony could be enough. Push for no bail this time. He hung up, catching her eye. Want to know the latest? Always, she said, sitting across from him. Wade singing, Jonathan said, his voice low. He gave up names, dates, even recordings of Chin's orders. The police are building a case for conspiracy, attempted murder, the works. If it holds, Chin's done. Simone's relief was tempered by caution. If it holds, Chin's got good lawyers. But Wade's evidence is damning. Bank transfers, encrypted messages. My team's handing it all to the DA. And us? She asked, glancing at Amara, now giggling over a Planet quiz. We stay here until the merger's signed tomorrow. Then we reassess. The police want Amara's statement on record, but I'm pushing to keep her out of court. Good, Simone said. She's been through enough. Jonathan nodded, his gaze softening. You're protective of her. It's grounding. I'm used to controlling everything, but this, it's different. Simone felt a warmth she pushed aside. It's about her, not us. Of course, he said quickly, but his eyes lingered, a question unspoken. That afternoon, they took Amara to the backyard for fresh air, security trailing discreetly. She kicked a soccer ball, her laughter easing the knot in Simone's chest. Jonathan joined in, his awkward kicks drawing giggles from Amara. You're bad at this, she teased. I'm learning, he shot back, grinning. Give me a week, I'll be a pro. Simone watched, her heart swelling. This was a family Amara deserved, moments of joy, not fear. But as the sun dipped, Tom Fletcher arrived, his face grim. We've got a problem, he said, pulling Jonathan and Simone aside. Chin's lawyers filed a motion to discredit Wade, claiming he's unreliable, and we'd picked up chatter. Someone still active in Chin's circle, planning a move before the merger. Simone's blood ran cold. What kind of move? Unclear, Tom said. Could be cyber, could be physical. We're locking down the cabin. No one in or out until we know more. Jonathan's jaw tightened. What about the merger? You can sign remotely, Tom said. We've got a secure line. But I recommend staying here until Chin's rearrested. Simone glanced at Amara, now chasing a butterfly. She's starting to feel safe. If we tell her. We don't, Jonathan said. Not yet. Let her have today. Dinner was quiet, Amara chattering about planets, while Simone and Jonathan exchanged tense glances. After tucking her in, Simone found Jonathan in the living room, staring at the security monitors. You okay? She asked. No, he admitted, his voice raw. I keep seeing Lily in her, that spark, that fight. If anything happens to Amara... It won't, Simone said, touching his arm. The contact surprised them both, and she pulled back. We're in this together, remember? He nodded, a faint smile breaking through. Together. The next morning, the merger signing was a quiet affair, Jonathan on a secure video call, while Simone and Amara baked cookies in the kitchen. Amara's laughter filled the cabin, but Simone's eyes kept drifting to the guards outside. When Jonathan emerged, his face was lighter. It's done, he said. The merger's official. Chin's company is finished. Simone exhaled. Does that mean it's over? Not yet, he said, but it's a start. That afternoon, Patricia arrived with news. Wade's testimony held up. The DA's rearresting Chin today. No bail this time. Amara's statement can be recorded here. No court appearance needed. Relief flooded Simone, but it was short-lived. As Patricia left, Tom burst in, his radio crackling. We got movement. Someone tripped a sensor in the woods. Jonathan grabbed Amara, pulling her to the panic room. Simone followed, her heart racing as they sealed the door. The monitors showed guards fanning out, flashlights cutting through the dusk. Amara clung to Simone, whispering, "Not again." "It's okay," Simone murmured, stroking her hair. "We're safe." Jonathan watched the monitors, his voice steady. "Tom, what's happening?" "False alarm." Tom's voice crackled back. "It was a deer, but we're staying on high alert." They stayed in the panic room for an hour, Amara dozing against Simone's shoulder. When they emerged, the cabin felt colder, the threat still lingering despite the all-clear. Jonathan poured coffee, his hands unsteady. "I'm sorry," he said. "I thought this would be over by now." "It's not your fault," Simone said. "Chin's the one who started this. But I dragged you both into it." He looked at her, guilt etched in his features. "You could have walked away." "I chose this," she said firmly. "For Amara. For you." His eyes held hers, something deeper passing between them. "I don't deserve that, but I'm grateful." That night, Simone read to Amara, the girl's fear easing with each page. As she drifted off, Simone joined Jonathan on the deck, the moon bright overhead. "She's okay," she said. "Scared, but okay." "You're her rock," he said. "And mine." Simone's heart skipped, but she kept her tone light. "Careful, you're getting sappy." He laughed, a rare, warm sound. "Maybe I'm learning." As they stood under the stars, the threat still loomed. But for the first time, Simone felt they could face it, not just as protectors, but as something more. Have you ever found strength in a moment of uncertainty by leaning on someone unexpected? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how connection helped you through. The safe house's quiet was shattered by the morning's first light, filtering through the pines and casting long shadows across the cabin's wooden floors. Simone stood at the kitchen window, watching Amara draw with chalk on the driveway under a guard's watchful eye. The girl's colorful swirls of planets and stars were a defiant splash of hope against the tension that still clung to their lives. The news of Richard Chin's rearrest had brought relief, but Eric Wade's testimony suggested more players in Chin's network, and the uncertainty gnawed at Simone. She gripped her coffee mug, its warmth a small anchor, as she wondered how long they'd need to hide, how long they could shield Amara from the storm. Jonathan emerged from the office, his face less strained than yesterday, but still etched with focus. He'd been up since dawn, coordinating with his legal team and the DA to ensure Chin stayed behind bars. "Morning," he said, pouring coffee. "Amara looks happy out there." "She's tougher than us," Simone replied, managing a smile, drawing galaxies like nothing happened. Jonathan leaned against the counter, his gray eyes following Amara's movements. "She's why we're doing this. I just got off with Patricia. The foster placement's holding, and they're fast-tracking the adoption process. Chin's arrest helps. Shows we're stabilizing her environment." Simone nodded, but her thoughts were on Amara's fear last night, the way she clung to her in the panic room. She needs more than legal papers. She needs to feel safe, not just be safe. "You're right." Jonathan set his mug down, his voice softening. "You're giving her that. Simone, more than I could alone." She met his gaze, the sincerity catching her off guard. "We're a team, Jonathan. She's at both of us." His smile was faint but warm. "I'm starting to see that." Ms. Linda arrived soon after, her arms full of science books and a model rocket kit. Amara bounded inside, chalked dust on her hands, and threw herself into the lesson with her usual hunger. Simone watched from the couch, her event planner mind itching for normalcy, maybe a trip to a museum or a library once this was over. But the guards outside, their radios crackling, reminded her that over was still a distant hope. Mid-morning, Tom Fletcher arrived with an update. "Chin's in custody, no bail," he said, joining Jonathan and Simone in the office. Wade's testimony was gold. Bank records, emails, even a recorded call where Chin ordered the hit. The DA's charging him with conspiracy, attempted murder, and racketeering. Simone exhaled, relief mingling with caution. "So it's really over?" "Not quite," Tom said. "We've identified 2 more associates, low level, but they're still out there. We're tracking them, but you stay here until we're sure." Jonathan nodded. "What about Amara's statement?" "The police will come here tomorrow, record it, Privately, Tom said. No court for her, as you requested. Good, Simone said, her voice firm. She's been through enough. After Tom left, Simone and Jonathan joined Amara for lunch. Grilled cheese sandwiches, her new favorite. She chattered about her rocket kit, oblivious to the adults' quiet tension. Can we launch in the backyard? She asked, her eyes bright. Once it's safe, we'll have a big launch party, Jonathan promised, ruffling her hair. Amara grinned, then paused. Safe, you mean from those men? Simone's heart twinged. She knelt beside her. The police are taking care of them, sweetheart. You focus on your rocket and those stars you love. Okay, Amara said, but her fingers tightened around her elephant, a silent anchor. That afternoon, they built the rocket model together, Amara's laughter filling the cabin as Jonathan fumbled with the tiny parts. Simone watched, her chest warming at the sight of them, Jonathan's careful patience, Amara's growing trust. It felt like family, fragile but real, and she wondered when she'd stop seeing this as temporary. Her phone buzzed, Tasha's name flashing. Simone stepped outside to answer, the cool air sharp against her skin. Sis, you're killing me with these cryptic texts, Tasha said. Safe house, arrests, what's next, a movie deal. Simone laughed, the sound easing her tension. Maybe. It's intense, Tasha, but Amara's worth it. And Jonathan, he's not what I thought. Uh-huh, Tasha said, her tone teasing. Sounds like you're catching feelings for Mr. Billionaire. It's not like that, Simone protested, but her cheeks heated. We're just focused on Amara. Sure, Tasha said, but I'm coming to visit when this is over. I need to meet this kid and check out your new life. Deal, Simone said, smiling. Love you. Love you too. Stay safe. Back inside, Jonathan was helping Amara paint her rocket. Their heads bent close. Simone joined them, picking up a brush. Looking good, she said, adding a silver stripe. It's going to fly to the moon, Amara declared, her eyes shining. As evening fell, the police arrived to take Amara's statement. A kind detective named Officer Ruiz sat with her in the living room. Her recorder small and unobtrusive, Amara recounted a gala night. Her words clear, her memory sharp despite the fear in her eyes. I heard them by the kitchen, she said, clutching Simone's hand. They spoke Chinese, so the car would make it look like an accident. You're doing great, Ruiz said gently. This helps us a lot. When it was over, Amara curled into Simone's side, exhausted. Jonathan thanked Ruiz, his voice tight. Will this be enough? With Wade's evidence, it's airtight, Ruiz said. Chin's not walking away. After they left, Simone tucked Amara into bed, reading until the girl's breathing steadied. In the living room, Jonathan poured wine, handing her a glass. You okay? He asked. Barely, she admitted, sipping, hearing her relive that it's hard. I know. He sat across from her, his eyes distant. I keep thinking about Lily. She was so small when she got sick, always asking why she couldn't play outside. I couldn't save her, but Amara, he trailed off, his voice thick. You're saving her, Simone said softly. Every day, you're giving her a life. He looked at her, vulnerability raw in his gaze. You're making that possible. I was a machine before this. Work, deals, nothing else. You and Amara, you're showing me what matters. Simone's heart skipped, but she kept her tone light. Careful, you're getting sappy again. He laughed, the sound warm. Maybe I'm okay with that. The next morning, Tom brought news. Chin's associates were arrested overnight. Their plans, a cyber attack on Jonathan's company, foiled. It's over, Tom said. You can go back to the penthouse tomorrow. Relief flooded Simone, but she glanced at Amara, now reading with Ms. Linda. Can we make it a smooth transition for her? We will, Jonathan said. A celebration, maybe? Something to mark the end of hiding. They spent the day planning, letting Amara choose decorations for their return. Star-shaped balloons, a cake with planets. She threw herself into it, her fear easing with each decision. That night, they launched a rocket in the backyard, a small whoosh and a burst of light that made Amara squeal. Jonathan's arm brushed Simone's as they watched, A quiet moment of connection under the stars. Back in the penthouse the next day, Amara ran to her room, thrilled to see her telescope and books. Simone unpacked, her mind on the future. School for Amara, the adoption process. Her own life upended but richer. Jonathan joined her in the kitchen, his smile easy. "We made it," he said. "We did," she replied, feeling the weight of their shared journey. "What's next?" "School, adoption, normalcy," he said. "And maybe figuring out what this is." He gestured between them, his eyes questioning. Simone's breath caught. "One step at a time," she said, but her smile betrayed her. As they sat with Amara that evening, watching her sketch stars, Simone felt a shift, a family forming, not just from necessity, but from something deeper. Have you ever found unexpected bonds in a crisis that change how you saw family? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how connection reshaped your life. The Greenwich penthouse felt alive with Amara's energy as she danced around her room, arranging her constellation-themed backpack and new school supplies on her desk. The star-shaped balloons from their welcome home celebration bobbed against the ceiling. Remnants of the previous night's cake-fueled laughter. Simone leaned against the doorway, watching the girl hum to herself, her stuffed elephant perched on the bed like a sentinel. The return from the safe house marked a turning point. Richard Chin was behind bars, his associates rounded up, and the merger was complete. Yet Simone's heart still carried a cautious rhythm, as if the world might shift again. She glanced at the city skyline through the massive windows, its familiar glow both comforting and stark against the memory of the cabin's isolation. Jonathan appeared beside her, his sleeves rolled up, a rare casual look that made him seem younger. "She's thriving," he said, his voice low but warm. "Look at her. She's already planning her first school day." Simone smiled, though her eyes lingered on Amara's careful organization of pencils. "She's excited but nervous. She asked me this morning if kids at school would know she was homeless." Jonathan's brow furrowed. "What did you say?" "That she's Amara, brave, smart, and one of a kind. Kids will see that, not her past." "You're good at this," he said, his gray eyes catching hers. "Better than I am." "You're not bad yourself," she replied, nudging his arm lightly. "You got her that telescope. She hasn't stopped talking about it." Amara spun toward them, holding up a notebook covered in planet stickers. "Miss Simone, Jonathan, look. I'm going to write all my science notes in this. Ms. Linda says I can start school next week if I'm ready." "You're more than ready," Jonathan said, stepping into the room. "We picked a great school, small classes, teachers who'll love your questions. You'll fit right in." Amara's smile faltered slightly. "What if I don't? I've never been to school before." Simone knelt beside her. "You learned Chinese on the streets. Sweetheart. You taught yourself to read. School's just a place to learn more, and you're already a pro at that." Amara hugged her elephant, nodding. "Okay, but can you come with me the first day?" "Both of us will," Jonathan said, glancing at Simone for confirmation. She nodded, a quiet pact forming. The morning passed with Ms. Linda's final preschool assessment, her praise for Amara's progress filling the room with pride. "She's ready for 4th grade, maybe even 5th in some subjects," Ms. Linda said as she packed up. "Her language skills are exceptional. Keep nurturing that curiosity." After lunch, Amara's choice of tacos from a food truck she'd once watched enviously. Jonathan's lawyer, Patricia Torres, arrived with adoption papers. The living room became a makeshift office, documents spread across the coffee table. "The court's impressed with your setup," Patricia said, her eyes warm. "Stable home, financial security, and Amara's clear attachment to both of you. We're on track for finalization in a few months, assuming no hiccups." "No hiccups," Jonathan repeated, his voice firm. "What do we need to do?" "Keep up the home visits. Therapy for Amara and school enrollment," Patricia said. "The judge will want to see her thriving. And Simone, your role as co-guardian is key. The court likes the balance you bring." Simone nodded, her chest tightening. Co-guardian was a title she hadn't planned on, yet felt right, like a piece of her life clicking into place. "I'm in," she said, meeting Amara's hopeful gaze across the room. Amara ran over, hugging her tightly. You're staying forever, right? As long as you need me, Simone promised, brushing a braid from her face. Jonathan signed the papers, his hand steady but his eyes bright with emotion. This is just a start, Amara. You're a part of this family now. Family, Amara whispered, testing the word. She looked at Jonathan, then Simone. Like forever? Forever, Jonathan said, his voice thick. That afternoon, they took Amara to the school for a tour, a private academy with green lawns and bright classrooms. The principal, a warm woman named Ms. Carter, no relation to Simone, showed them around, pointing out science labs and a library that made Amara's eyes widen. You'll have a locker here, Ms. Carter said, opening a shiny metal door. And we have an astronomy club you might like. Astronomy? Amara clutched her elephant, beaming. Can I join? First day, Ms. Carter said, smiling. We'll make sure you feel at home. As they left, Amara skipped between them, her fear easing with each step. Simone noticed Jonathan's relaxed posture, the way he laughed at Amara's chatter about constellations. But her phone buzzed, pulling her back to reality. A text from Tom Fletcher. Court date set for Chin's trial. You and Jonathan may need to testify. Stay sharp. Simone showed Jonathan the message as Amara ran ahead to the car. Testify, she whispered. What about Amara? We'll keep her out of it, he said, his jaw tight. Wade's evidence is enough. I'll make sure of it. Back at the penthouse, Simone helped Amara organize her school supplies while Jonathan took a call in his office. The girl's excitement was infectious, but Simone's mind kept drifting to the trial. She overheard Jonathan's raised voice. No, she's not testifying. She's a child, not a pawn. When he emerged, his face was stormy. The DA wants Amara on the stand, he said, keeping his voice low. I told them no, but they're pushing. Chin's lawyers are claiming her story is unreliable because of her age. Simone's blood boiled. She's 9, not a liar. She saved your life. I know, he said, rubbing his temples. I'm hiring the best legal team to block it. She's been through enough. That evening, they kept things light, watching a movie about space exploration Amara picked. She snuggled between them on the couch, popcorn in her lap, her laughter easing the day's tension. But as Simone tucked her in, Amara's voice was small. Miss Simone, will I have to talk about the bad men in court? Simone's heart clenched. She sat on the bed, stroking Amara's hand. Jonathan's working hard to make sure you don't. You just focus on school and your stars, okay? Okay, Amara whispered, but her eyes held worry. In the living room, Jonathan poured wine, his movements tense. I'm sorry, he said, handing Simone a glass. I thought this was over. It's not your fault, she said, sipping. Chin's fighting dirty, but we'll protect her. He nodded, his gaze distant. When Lily got sick, I promised her I'd make the world better. I thought that meant charities, money, but Amara, she's making me see it's about people. Her, you. Simone's throat tightened. You're doing right by her, and Lily will be proud. He looked at her, vulnerability raw. You think so? I know so, she said softly. You're giving Amara a home, a future. That's what matters. He stepped closer, his voice low. And you, Simone, you're a part of this now. More than you know. Her breath caught, the air charged. She wanted to deflect, to keep it light, but his eyes held hers, steady and warm. We're a team, she said finally, her voice soft. A good one, he replied, a smile breaking through. The next morning, a social worker arrived for a home visit, her clipboard filled with questions about Amara's adjustment. She observed the girl's room, her school plans, and the bond forming with Simone and Jonathan. You're creating a strong environment, she said, smiling. Amara's lucky. We're the lucky ones, Jonathan said, his hand brushing Simone's as they stood together. As the week unfolded, Amara prepared for school, her nerves mixing with excitement. Simone and Jonathan took her shopping for uniforms, her joy at the crisp navy blazer infectious. But the trial loomed, and Tom's updates grew grimmer. Chin's lawyers were digging into Jonathan's past, trying to paint him as reckless, unfit to adopt. They're desperate. Jonathan told Simone late one night, the city lights glittering below. They'll lose, but they're making it ugly. Then we fight back, she said, her resolve hardening. For Amara, he echoed, his hand lingering near hers, a quiet promise of what they were building. Have you ever had to stand up for someone you love against unfair judgment? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how you fought for what's right. The Connecticut coastline shimmered under the late afternoon sun, the waves lapping gently against the shore of Jonathan's beach house. The sprawling estate, with its white-clapboard exterior and wraparound porch, was a world away from the penthouse's sleek urbanity. Simone stood on the lawn, adjusting the delicate white roses pinned to her hair, her emerald dress catching the breeze. Today was a wedding, hers and Jonathan's. A day she hadn't imagined 6 months ago when she'd been just an event planner caught in a whirlwind. Amara, now officially their adopted daughter, twirled nearby in a lavender dress, her cornrows adorned with tiny star-shaped beads, her laughter mingling with the gulls overhead. The small gathering of family and friends, Tasha, Ms. Linda, Patricia Torres, and a few of Jonathan's trusted colleagues, chatted under a canopy strung with fairy lights, the air filled with anticipation. Simone's heart raced, not just from the vows she'd soon exchange, but from the journey that had brought them here. The trial against Richard Chin was weeks away, his lawyers still clawing for leverage. But the immediate threats had faded. Amara's first month at school had been a triumph. She joined the astronomy club, made friends, and aced her first science quiz. Yet the shadow of the past lingered, and Simone's event planner instincts kept her scanning the horizon for trouble, even on this day of joy. Jonathan approached, his navy suit tailored perfectly, his gray eyes soft with a warmth she'd come to love. "You look incredible," he said, his voice low, meant just for her. "Nervous?" "A little," she admitted, smoothing her dress. "Not about you. About everything being so perfect. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop." He took her hand, his thumb brushing her knuckles. "It won't. We fought too hard for this. Today's ours." Amara ran over, clutching a small bouquet of daisies. "Miss Simone, you're like a princess. Can I walk with you when you go to the altar?" Simone knelt, adjusting Amara's beads. "You're the star of this show, sweetheart. You'll lead the way." Amara beamed, then tugged Jonathan's sleeve. "You're going to be my dad for real now, right?" "For real," he said, crouching to hug her. "And Simone's your mom. We're a family, no matter what." The word mom hit Simone like a wave, warm and overwhelming. She'd signed the adoption papers alongside Jonathan last week. The judge's approval a quiet victory after months of home visits and evaluations. Amara's birth certificate had been corrected. She was 9, not 7, a fact they'd celebrated with a cake shaped like a rocket. Now, as they prepared to become a legal family, Simone felt the weight of it, the beauty and the responsibility. The ceremony was set on the beach, a simple arch draped in white linens and roses. Tasha, radiant in a coral dress, gave Simone a teary hug. "You're glowing, sis. This is your fairy tale." "It's Amara's, too," Simone whispered, her eyes on the girl skipping toward the arch. The music started, a soft guitar melody, and Amara led the procession, scattering petals with a grin. Simone followed, her arm linked with Jonathan's, their steps steady on the sand. The officiant, a local judge who'd overseen their adoption case, smiled warmly. "We're here to celebrate love," she began, not just between Jonathan and Simone, but the family they built with Amara. The vows were simple, heartfelt. Jonathan's voice was steady, but thick with emotion. "Simone, you walked into my life when I needed you most, though I didn't know it then. You gave me courage, purpose, and a family. I promise to love you, to fight for us every day." Simone's eyes glistened. "Jonathan, you saw Amara when no one else did, and you saw me too. You've shown me what strength and love look like. I promise to stand by you, to build this life together, no matter what comes." Amara, standing between them, held their hands as they exchanged rings, her giggle breaking the solemnity when Jonathan fumbled his. The crowd laughed, and the judge pronounced them married, the word sealing a bond forged in crisis and love. But as they turned to face their guests, A sharp crack echoed from the dunes, a sound too familiar, like the snap of a branch in the safe house woods. Jonathan's arm tightened around Simone, his eyes scanning the horizon. Tom Fletcher, ever present, was already moving, radio in hand. "Stay calm," he whispered, signaling 2 guards to check the perimeter. Amara froze, her bouquet dropping to the sand. "Is it them?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Simone knelt, pulling her close. "It's okay, sweetheart. Probably just a guest stepping on a twig." Jonathan's face was taut, but he forced a smile for Amara. "Let's get to the reception. Cake's waiting." Tom returned minutes later, his expression grim but controlled. False alarm. A kid playing the dunes knocked over a chair. "We're clear." Simone exhaled, her heart still racing. Jonathan squeezed her hand, a silent promise. They led Amara to a reception tent, where tables overflowed with seafood, salads, and a towering cake topped with sugar rocket. Amara's fear faded as she dove into the dessert, her laughter returning as Tasha taught her a silly dance move. Later, as guests mingled, Simone and Jonathan stepped onto porch, the ocean breeze cool against their skin. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice low. "I thought today would be free of this." "It's not your fault," she said, leaning into him. "We're together. That's what matters." He kissed her forehead, his touch grounding. "You're my rock, Simone." "And you're mine," she replied, her heart full. That night, after Amara was tucked into the beach house's guest room, Simone and Jonathan sat on the porch, stars glittering above. The trial loomed, but for now, they were a family, official, unbreakable. Simone thought of Lily, Jonathan's sister, and how her memory had shaped this moment. "She'd love this," she said softly. "Amara, us this life." Jonathan nodded, his eyes on the sky. "She would, and she'd love you." The next weeks were a blur of school mornings and trial prep. Amara settled into her routine, her astronomy club a highlight, her new friend Mia inviting her to sleepovers. But the trial cast a shadow. Jonathan and Simone were called to testify, their statements reinforcing Wade's evidence. Chin's lawyers tried to discredit them, painting Jonathan as a reckless billionaire and Simone as an opportunist. But the evidence, recordings, bank transfers, Amara's recorded statement, was overwhelming. One afternoon, as Simone picked Amara up from school, a man approached, tall, disheveled, his eyes haunted. "You're Amara's mom, right?" he said, his voice low. Simone tensed, stepping in front of Amara. "Who are you?" "Thomas Rivera," he said, hands raised. "I'm not here to hurt anyone. I was homeless too, years ago. I heard about Amara, what she did. It gave me hope, you know? I'm trying to get clean, get my life back." Simone relaxed slightly, seeing the sincerity in his eyes. "That's good, Thomas. Amara's story is special. Can I talk to her?" he asked, just to say thanks. Amara peeked out, curious. "You lived on the streets too?" "Yeah," Thomas said, smiling faintly. "But hearing about you made me think I could try again." Amara hugged her elephant. "You can do it. It's hard, but you're not invisible." Thomas's eyes misted. He thanked him and left, later volunteering at a shelter inspired by Amara's story. Simone hugged her tightly. "You're changing lives, sweetheart." Back home, Jonathan was waiting, his face lighter. The DA called. Chin's team is folding. Guilty plea expected next week. Simone exhaled, relief flooding her. "It's really over?" "Looks like it," he said, pulling her close. "We can focus on us now, our family." That night, as they watched Amara sketch stars, Simone felt the weight of their journey lift. They'd faced danger, doubt, and fear, but they'd built something stronger: love, trust, a home. Have you ever found hope in an unexpected moment that reshaped your perspective? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how a small spark changed your path.
Wow, thank you so much for watching. Seriously, your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed this video, the biggest way you can show me love and encourage me to keep creating is to hit that like button and subscribe. Takes 1 second, but it makes a huge difference. Speaking of more videos, I've got another exciting one lined up for you. Just click on the next video showing right on your screen now to keep the fun going. See you there.